Good day to you, viewers. You are welcome once again to your favorite program, The Conversation, coming to you from TV 360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Nelson Ekujumi. I'm a public affairs analyst, and I also have with me in the studio Peter Clever Okpara, also a public affairs analyst. Peter, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being with us here on the program. This is The Conversation, a program in which the two guests or the two anchors voice their opinion on national issues. It's not like your normal program where you have an interviewer and an interviewee. We are both conversing about issues happening in our polity. Yes, in the first stanza of the program today, we want to look at the latest outburst from former President Olusegun Obasanjo when 6 members of the House of Representatives visited him in his, I think, presidential library in Ogun State, where former President Olusegun Obasanjo complained about the moral decadence in the society, and even went further to say that those in leadership positions, not only in Nigeria but across Africa, that a lot of them ought to be in jail. And for me, as somebody who has come of age during the tenure of former President Olusegun Obasanjo as a military head of state as well as a civilian president between 1999 to 2007 in the democratic dispensation in Nigeria, I think we owe it a responsibility to the young ones who didn't know who former President Olusegun Obasanjo is. And I'm saying it with all sense of responsibility. If there's anybody who is unfit to talk about moral values in any society, former President Olusegun Obasanjo stands head and shoulder among anybody else. This was a man who, as a military leader, launched an Operation Feed the Nation, but used it to appropriate public land and set up Obasanjo farms all over the country. This was a man, as a civilian president, who raped the Nigerian constitution at will. The man spent $16 billion of taxpayers' money to fund electricity supply, public power supply to Nigerians. At the end of the day, it was $16 billion gone down the drain. This was a man who attempted an illegal and unconstitutional third-term bid to be the president of Nigeria. After exhausting his constitutional 2 terms, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, through the back door, tried to secure an unconstitutional and illegal 3rd term. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, if we also don't forget, was a man who introduced corruption to the National Assembly through Ghana Must Go bags. And that is why members of the National Assembly till today refer to him as the grandfather of corruption. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo always portrayed himself as a saint. Is one man whom God has so blessed, whom God has so lifted to positions that I'm sure he never dreamt of. But what does this man do to humanity? The man looks down on every other human being except himself. I remember former president of Nigeria, who never sat on the seat, M.K. Abiola. He said in 1994, after the June 12 election was annulled by the military dictators Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida on 26th of June 1993. You remember the June 12, 1993 presidential election was won by M.K. Abiola against Alhaji Bashir Tofa. In 1994, Obasanjo led according to Abiola, while in detention, he said Obasanjo led a retinue of 34 traditional rulers to come and beg him to relinquish the mandate of the people. But he said he told them off in unspeakable terms. Abiola also went further to tell us that Obasanjo has only one friend, and that is Obasanjo. Obasanjo does not see anything good in any human being except Obasanjo. I'm pained anytime I hear somebody like Obasanjo come out into the public space and want to pontificate and try to assert ourselves as if we don't have memory of who this man is.
Let me take it off from here for one reason. On July 3rd, 1993, there was a massive protest against the annulment of June 12th
I remember.
election. I was a student leader with Shore and some other people who were at MQ Abiola's house in Ikeja. At the gate, we are talking to Deji Abiola at the gate. He was trying to pacify the students. We came with our boss who wanted to enter, but somebody drove in. That was Obasanjo. Obasanjo was driving a Volvo 760 or thereabout. Yeah. He was driving himself.
Yes.
He came in there.
That day.
When he came in there, Deji was talking to us. Students saw him, yabbed him. He now called Deji.
He now called Kola.
He called Deji. They were at the gate, right at the outside the
Obasanjo called Deji.
Obasanjo called Deji.
I thought
Deji, go inside. Go inside. Deji went inside. He now drove in. Why I brought out that is the Obasanjo you are talking about, because you related him to June 12th. The treacherous role he played
yes.
on June 12th. That day he came on Solidarity. He was
the
whole of Nigeria was solidarizing with Abiola on that day.
Yes.
He came on with palm front in front of his car. He drove himself a blue Volvo, and but here he now says, Deji, go inside. Maybe you are not fit to talk to those because students were yabbing him as he was, Now at the end of the day, Obasanjo now turned around and said that Abiola was not the president Nigeria needed. It was Obasanjo that Nigeria needed. Because, yes, it tells spin to, he was always positioning himself to be the best man to take over governance, leadership in Nigeria at any point in time. He was playing it until he got to Abacha. Abacha wanted to eliminate him.
Yes.
Abacha went to listen, and that maybe he was heading towards that when Providence served him and Abacha died.
Yes.
And Obasanjo now came out from detention humbled. Was a caricature of himself with only 20,000 naira in his bank account. And maybe the military, the northern oligarchy, and everything railroaded him to the presidency. And now, after 8 years of Obasanjo's rule, you have already
disaster.
detailed it. He spent 16 billion naira.
Yes.
Dollars,
not naira.
Dollars. Giving Nigeria darkness.
Yes, darkness.
Because the power sector worsened while he was at the decent.
Yes.
Look at infrastructure.
Yes.
Lagos Ibadan Expressway. You are talking about the giant billboards of Obasanjo on Lagos Ibadan Expressway for 8 years. Nothing, the road deteriorated. That is the classical Lagos Ibadan Expressway Buhari gave us the other day.
Peter, you are talking about Lagos Ibadan Expressway.
Yes.
How about the road to Obasanjo's hometown?
And
Ibogun.
Now, like you said, this was a man whose priority was to impress the international monetary agency.
Yes.
He now had to shell $12 billion of Nigeria. Say he was repairing about 18 or 15 million, 16 billion dollars. Yeah. And at the end of the day, hefty commissions were collected at the end of the day. That was his priority. When he was president, planes, that's Nigerian planes, we are falling on the ground every day.
I remember.
Nothing. You cannot mention any
under Obasanjo, a legislative house of 24 members.
Yes.
Of which the law says the house can only convoke as a quorum when 1/3 members are present.
Good.
We'll see 3 members impeach
a governor.
A sitting governor.
If Obasanjo wakes up at any point and feels that taking you out, he will take you out.
Yes.
That was the democracy we practice under Obasanjo.
It was so bad that Obasanjo told the former governor of Oyo State, Rashid Ladoja, to go and resign. And that one dared him.
Good.
And Obasanjo used the EFCC and removed him only for the cause.
How can we Alamasianko and so many other places?
Joshua Dariye.
That is the man that is pontificating
on
democracy.
In Nigeria.
And let me tell you, this was the man that even brought the very corruptive monetization policy with which, he sold all legislative houses to House of Assembly at giveaway prices. This was a man whose economic policy was all about selling national assets to his cronies,
yes,
to
so
himself
yes,
and his cronies. And then this.
Let me even shock you.
Yeah.
We were at a function, an anti-corruption engagement with the then EFCC chairman, Nuru Badu.
Yeah.
And Nuru Badu said, as a sitting president,
yeah.
do we know that Obasanjo went and bought shares in
Transcorp? Transcorp.
That it was the EFCC that seized it. He said he told him to his face, Mr. President, you can't do this.
Yes, Obasanjo set up Transcorp as his personal.
So the same Obasanjo will come out and be talking to us.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, one thing I do, Obasanjo evokes so much passion because many people take it that this was the man that deliberately implanted corruption in this country.
Of course.
You can talk about Abacha, you can know his limitations.
Yes,
you can talk about Jonathan, you know his limitations.
Yes.
Jonathan didn't know much of what was happening under him. He was just there, and people were doing so many other things. But Obasanjo knew, as he had presented himself as a
the Operation Free the Nation. Can we forget?
Yes, Operation Free the Nation that dispossessed a lot of people of their land all over Nigeria.
Yes.
You know, so the people who talk about Obasanjo, because this is a person I choose to call an adult delinquent. He knew that what he was doing is wrong. Remember very well when Obasanjo was president, when Nigerians criticized him so much, we alleged him and about, he said, well, that if Nigerians feel so bad about him, that they should get his picture in their bedrooms and flog him every morning. Flog the picture every morning. That shows you the audacity that this man knows what. And are we even going to the home stretch? Are we talking about his personal relationship with his son and the wife and all those kind of things? There are so many other things. Well, who I blame are the people, the so-called members of the House of Representatives, and who are the members of the House of Representatives? One fellow that calls himself Iken Goji. That's the kind of
the one that has been removed as chairman of the Petroleum Committee of the House of Reps
for
corrupt
who
practices,
are looking for
alleged
so-called
corrupt practices.
They are looking for so-called. Where do they find it? On a collapsing podium like Obasanjo. You remember that Obasanjo fought stridently against President Tinubu. Yes. He fought stridently against President Buhari and those things. So you know where he belongs at any point in time. It's just that he had no choice. He just is here and pontificates on things he doesn't have. Virtues he doesn't have. Morality he doesn't have.
He doesn't.
If, like you have said, if there is any Nigeria, any former African head of state that is supposed to warm his feet
in prison is Obasanjo.
That is just about it. Obasanjo has nothing to teach anybody. He has no legacy. You cannot pin
there's nothing to emulate about
the 11 years.
About his life.
Let us talk about 8 years. 11 years Obasanjo was ruled this country.
Let me
3 years as a military head of state.
You remember when former military head of state Ibrahim Babangida was sponsoring Obasanjo as the Secretary General of the United
Nations. That comic.
Yes. So, and you recollect that the civil society organizations, as well as eminent Nigerians, came out and said Obasanjo is unfit,
of course,
to lead any organization people by human beings.
He's intellectually unfit, he's morally unfit,
he's characterily unfit.
Of course. And talk not of United Nations Secretary. So it was a joke, and it ended as a joke.
No, let me even go back to the. Wale Soyinka wrote an article titled "What Manner of Man."
Okay.
It was published in a lot of newspapers and magazines.
Okay.
And what was the crux of Wale Soyinka's argument? Wale Soyinka said, when Nigeria was floating the idea of Obasanjo's candidacy, that he vowed that he would do everything within his powers
to frustrate it.
Okay. So he said, on this day, the AU had a AU conference in Nigeria in 1989, if I'm correct, 89-90, in Abuja.
Yeah.
He said, lo and behold, on this day, he just heard a knock on his door around 6 a.m. That when he opened the door, it was MK Abiola. That MK Abiola prostrated and was begging him. Prof, please. This is, before then, the United Nations Secretary General had always been somebody from the West, a white person.
Sure.
So he said, please, let us allow him. This is the only chance for the black man, for the African. He said he was only able to make Abiola stand up from that prostrating position by saying, okay. He now said, he told Abiola a lot of atrocities that Obasanjo has committed against humanity. And Abiola now told Wale Soyinka that, Prof, if I tell you what this man has done to me personally, you will tell me that I'm mentally unstable to have come here to put
Okay.
but that I'm putting those things aside.
Okay.
This is because of the black race.
Okay.
He said, Wole Soyinka only agreed that I will not campaign further.
Yeah.
But where I have campaigned to,
Yeah.
I will not stop.
Okay.
I will use my campaigns
Okay.
to frustrate his bid.
Okay.
Only for Obasanjo, the same Obasanjo, after MK Abiola won election in 1993,
Yeah.
to go to Harare
Yes, now.
in Zimbabwe and said Abiola is not the Messiah we are looking for. And we were like, when we went to the polls, we didn't go there to vote for a Messiah.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
We were voting for a mortal like ourselves.
Yes.
And this same Obasanjo, if you also don't remember, and let me remind Nigerians, when Babangida became confused and could not implement his agenda of transmitting from a military dictator to a civilian president. And he was looking for a way out because the heat of the June 12 annulment had caught up with him and the military constituency. I wish we can have a replay of those videos and people will acknowledge what Nigerians have been through. Nobody will take this democracy for granted.
No talk about Obasanjo. Obasanjo is just one hypocritical, egotistic character. He thinks of himself. To him, the whole world is about Matthew, Aremu, Okikiola, Obasanjo, yes. Not nobody else. He is the only person that is perfect in his eye. He's the only person that is fit in his eye. He's the only person that knows how to do. And he believes, let me tell you, people like Obasanjo do not believe in God. I don't think he believes
in God. No, he's God. Obasanjo is God.
Because he himself thinks that he is
a God. Yes, he thinks, yes.
So when he talks about this, I look at him as somebody that he has failed.
Peter, you didn't allow me to land.
Yeah.
You know, when Babangida was torn between the devil and the deep blue sea, and Babangida was looking for a way out. It was Obasanjo that went and sold the idea of interim national government.
At the end of the day,
and he proposed himself to head it.
That is why I'm saying.
But because Babangida is as clever, is as cunning as a fox, just like Obasanjo, Babangida now puts late Ernest Shoneko against Obasanjo.
At the end of the day,
Obasanjo
he will
started
be
attacking
thinking of having himself on the seat. At any point in time, whenever he's intervening to have Obasanjo come on the seat.
Professor Wole Soyinka called him a pathological liar.
And he is.
A predator.
A moral...
A sadist. A bankruptly corrupt human being. Morally bankrupt.
But he is. He is.
So I get...
So I don't blame him. I blame those that go to him and he'll be talking rubbish to them.
I get angry whenever I see that man want to pontificate to Nigerians.
Obasanjo is an evil that we should...
No, that was what Ojukwu said. Yes. Ojukwu says an evil that should be taken out of
Definitely, that should be taken out of our system.
It's a pandemic for me, if you ask me. It's a pandemic.
Nigerian blood. That is what...
No, not Nigerian blood, though.
Yes.
It's a pandemic to the human race.
It's true. It's true.
In this age and time, Obasanjo will come and be telling Nigerians some people are corrupt. Who is the father of corruption?
It is those that go to him. He has stopped writing letters. When did he stop writing letters? Because he thinks, at a stage, Obasanjo was thinking that he had the mandate to single-handedly pick whoever will rule Nigeria.
Can you imagine?
And he now made his match during Buhari's time.
Yes.
Then he tried it under Tinubu and failed. Today he's staying in his house and some layabouts will go and visit him and be talking rubbish. I blame them. I don't blame
thank you very much, Peter. The issue of about Obasanjo always evoke...
It evokes passion, in me. Because of the kind of failure we had of him as a president. I've known
this man who is an elder statesman, but who is everything on elderly.
Sure.
In conduct and in comments. So I have no regrets for the words I'm using about him. It's how I feel passionately about him.
Of course.
I spoke earlier on a similar program like this, and I spoke of an eminent Nigerian of unquestionable character like Emeka Anyaoku.
Yeah.
But you can't put Olusegun Obasanjo on the same pedestal
at all
with persons of such character.
At all.
Well, this is where I just hope the young ones will go back into history and know where we all stand. Go and look at our antecedents. Don't be fooled by what anybody says because it resonates with whatever you want to hear. Obasanjo is former President Olusegun Obasanjo is an unfit I repeat, unfit human being to sermonize on any issue in Nigeria.
Very
because
pathologically corrupt.
it's a pandemic to humanity.
Yeah.
This is where we want to call it a wrap on this first stanza of the program. We'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. Please continue to watch the conversation coming to you from TV 360. We'll be right back.